ETH 2.0 is obviously a pretty technically accomplished work. You know, the ETH devs really put a lot of effort into making it, you know, pretty decent. I mean, with ETH 2.0, you can have 200,000 people staking, right? There's a lot of room in the ETH consensus for stakers. So I guess in theory, at some point in the future, you could stake pulsechain at home. But anyway, I mean, like, let's move away from the technical stuff. Is Richard Hart...
I'm not a tech guy.
Yeah. Is Richard Hart at risk of being, like, arrested or something? Because that's the main reason I'm not investing. Is he going to get basically arrested for, like, some kind of securities fraud or something? I mean, that's the big kind of problem with it, right?
I would say no. You know, I buy into the mainstream hex narratives of it not passing the Howey test, not being a security. So those arguments I pretty much support myself.
Okay. Okay. I mean, hex probably isn't a security.
Yeah.
Because there's no. It's not because it's a pyramid scheme. A pyramid scheme can't be a security. Gold isn't a security, right? Bitcoin isn't a security. There's no business associated with hex. It's literally just a commodity that you stake for a period of time, and when you unstake it and sell it, you're only getting money from from new people who are coming into the protocol. So obviously, it's not a security. But pulsechain probably is a security, right? Because you can collect fees, which means it's a business proposition, which means it does pass, you know, it satisfies the Howey test. So pulsechain could get him for some kind of securities violation.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. I'm not familiar with like SEC jurisdiction or like exactly.
Well, is he in America? Is he in America?
I think
no, he's not.
Generally he's not. Like he doesn't live in America.
No.
But I think he's an American citizen.
Okay. He's a citizen, but he refuses to go there because of the SEC, as far as I have it.
Right. Okay. So obviously
he was there not long ago. He visited his mom in Florida like a couple months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
So,
there's a video of him. Sorry. Go ahead.
So basically, there is actually some kind of securities risk associated with pulsechain. But you see, the problem that I see for the regulators is if they say, look, we're going to say Ethereum isn't a security, but if you have the audacity to just copy ETH, then that's a security. I mean, that's kind of dumb, right? That's going to be very hard for them to support that line of argument. So if he literally just copies ETH, if they get him for securities, they probably have to get Vitalik as well, but they probably don't want to do that. So
I'll give my opinion on this. Go ahead,
ETH is decentralized. Sorry, Matt. ETH is decentralized. Well, decentralized, whichever definition you want to use. Whereas pulsechain, from everything I've heard, is basically going to be validated by Richard. I mean, it's not the same sort of setup.
If he copies the ETH technical side, then that would mean that anyone could become a pulsechain validator by staking their pulse, right?
Well, then eventually, then it starts out as security and changes definition over time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, the same thing happened to ETH. ETH had a crowd sale. They sold their the ETH, right? And I mean, if something's a security at point T in time, then 5 years later, how did it stop being a security, right?
No, that's a good question. But now the question is, if that statement's correct, wouldn't they be able to get him if they're looking for a reason to get him anyway, which they likely are? Wouldn't this be the time to do it?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you know,
because I hear what you're saying, but you can't say, okay, but it's maybe a security now, but we promise we won't be in a year.
I mean, that is one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard. If you start as a security, you're a security, right? Because the whole point of a security, is that it's a risky investment that people make in the hope of making money, right, in the future. So if it makes money in the future, or even if it doesn't, if they went into it with the expectation to make money, it's a security, right?
I realize the Howey test and these sort of rules are
it's kind of
difficult to apply directly. It doesn't really work. But I'm just trying to see if, from a view of investing in it and the risks associated with it, you have to look at it the way that the SEC might look at it and the actions they might take based on that interpretation. The fact that I don't agree with it doesn't mean that they don't agree with it.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, it seems like there is some kind of risk here with you know, Richard Hart promoting a security. And the thing with Hex that worries me, I guess, is that it really is still kind of centralized around him. Like, but the thing is, so is everything. Like, there is really only one crypto that's truly socially decentralized, and that's Bitcoin, right? Because nobody really fully runs Bitcoin. Whereas even ETH is like socially centralized around Vitalik and his gang. If anything ever happened to them, ETH would unironically probably just go to zero because somebody needs to run it. It's not finished yet. ETH won't be finished for at least another 5 to 10 years, and then maybe you can say it's truly decentralized. So I guess it's kind of all the same shit. I mean, the thing is, the more I look at the chart, the more I like it. Because like. Let me just pin this latest thing that I've charted to the nest, and you guys can take a look at it. So you have, when you look at it in dollar terms, right? There is a high in October 2020, another high in December 2020, another high in April 2021, and then it sort of really launches. And we're actually just coming into all of these highs right now. So technically you could say that this is an area of support. If it were to break below 0.86 cents, it would be horrible, right? It would be really horrible. So it's kind of like if you were ever going to buy the dip on this thing, just purely looking at it as a chart, not understanding any of the factors that are around it in terms of fundamentals, the region between 2.1 cents and 1.5 cents is probably where you would want to buy. Maybe it goes down a bit lower. Maybe we do see 1.5 cents tested. Wouldn't surprise me. I guess what I really worry about with Hex is just that it's this extremely volatile bet on Richard Hart personally doing the right thing. And that, like, maybe you buy a little bit, maybe you wait, like Harrison said, because of stock, because of what stocks are doing. But yeah, I mean, I think overall this conversation has made me slightly more bullish on Hex.
That's hilarious.
Maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of, this is something that I've been thinking about more lately, about like the reasons why we would want to be investing in Hex now, not just for like, I heard you previously talking about using it as a means to increase your Bitcoin stack, which like obviously is like the main reasons why altcoins existed in the first place. But my thesis around investing into Hex has really come down to being able to have a significant percentage of the inflation of a ecosystem that is socially valued. I think just the basically finesse